Hello, everyone. Here we are, Tipsy Realtors again, and Anna is away doing governance stuff for the Calgary Real Estate Board. So we have the beautiful and adorable Michelle with us, helping us out today for our show. So today what we're talking about is we're going to talk and show you how to make a cocktail called the Pain in the Ass. And then we're going to talk about buying a house in Canada as a non-resident, because this comes up a lot and a lot of people think that you can't, and you can depending on the circumstances. There's an exception to every rule. So we're going to tell you those exceptions, and we're going to walk you through, if you're a non-resident, how you can buy property in Canada.
Sounds good.
All right, so let's start with the drink, because that's always the fun part. Actually, you know what, Michelle? I'm so
Fun
sorry.
part and the best part.
Yeah,
Yep.
she needs to fill those up with ice. So these are
okay. I got that one full of ice.
Yeah.
More ice?
More ice in
All
each
right,
one.
more ice.
So these are our glasses that are rocks glasses, and we're filling them up with ice so that we can pour our cocktail over them. Now, I didn't actually make one in advance. So because I didn't make one in advance, what we're going to be doing is we're actually just going to be making it all together in one stirring glass. And I did that because it shows that you can make more at once because of the way that this cocktail is made. So let's start with this. So here are your ingredients. Now, this cocktail wants you to start with putting all of your liquors into a glass and stirring them, and then we're going to top them off. So we're going to start with our watermelon schnapps, which I was actually pretty excited to find. I tried to find the apricot schnapps because this one kind of gives you a couple different choices. But we're going to do, because we're doubling it, we're going to make 2. So everything's going to be doubled going into the glass.
This brings me back to my early drinking years, and it scares me a little bit.
It scares you a little bit. Now we're on to the coconut rum. And there is a lot. Obviously, everybody knows Malibu is kind of like that standard coconut rum, but honestly, you can put in any kind of coconut rum that you want. So we're using Shipwrecked today. And then you got your overproof rum, which is 1/2 ounce. I was actually more scared about the overproof rum because, I don't know, not a real fan of it.
What is overproof rum? Anyways, I've never heard of that.
It's usually the one we use to light things on fire. And I double checked that we're not supposed to be lighting things on fire on this one. But
no, not today.
But that's usually, I used overproof rum to light cocktails on fire. So, and now we're on to our apple schnapps because I could not find the apricot schnapps, which I did try. And actually, the gentleman at the liquor store was very, very friendly, and he was super cute, like trying to help me find all this stuff. And he saw our cocktail book because I had it in my hand, and he's like, "What book is that?" So then, of course, I had to explain that to him, and he thought it was pretty cool, our show and stuff like that. Asked what time it was on at and everything, so it was kind of nice.
So maybe he's watching.
Maybe he's watching. He was a very nice man. So now we're straining everything into our rocks glasses, and then we're supposed to top it off with 2 ounces, which I don't think it's going to fit 2 ounces in there, but 2 ounces of pineapple juice, and then 2 ounces of Sprite.
I guess we need a bigger glass.
I know. It's in rocks glasses. I got rocks. But I've made this one before, but I've made this one before, and I've made it with apple, because you can use apple or watermelon. And then I wanted to try it with watermelon this time. And then we have our straws. So mix it all together. Look, it's got kind of a fake pink look to it, which is kind of nice.
It's great for Easter.
It is a great Easter one. I agree. All right. Cheers. And you can garnish it with fruit. You can garnish it with cherries. You can garnish with lemon limes. Apple, if you're using the apple piece. Like, you can garnish it with anything you want.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, you could. It definitely needs a little bit more color. Like, a little garnish would be really nice.
You could garnish it actually with an edible flower.
Oh, cute.
That would look really nice. Or rose petals, because it's got the pink. You could do rose petals. Ooh, hang on 1 second.
Do you have rose petals?
I do. I always have rose petals.
I'm getting rose petals in my drink. All right.
Actually.
Oh,
lavender. I've already got my herb garden going inside my house. So a little piece of lavender. Look at that.
That is lovely. Very chic of us now. Now it looks like a chic drink with a straw.
You go.
Can a chic drink have a straw? Not bad, but the sourpuss is still freaking me out.
Is it? So it is
Bad
sweet.
memories from when I was 18.
It is a super sweet drink. I will say that. It is a super sweet drink. So if you're not in for sweet drinks, I was actually thinking that if you wanted to tone down the sugar in it, instead of using Sprite, you could use soda water.
Oh yeah, that would be good actually, because it
Soda
is
water?
very sweet.
It is. So soda water would tone down the sweetness in it if you don't like the sweeter, but you want to get the flavor out. So soda water would actually be a kind of a nice tinge to the drink if you don't like the sweet part.
Yeah.
But honestly, all of the ingredients are pretty cool.
No,
they're pretty cool ingredients.
It's true. Maybe if it was just like these drinks, but in just a different bottle. Maybe that's what it
You're
is.
just traumatized by sourpuss.
I am traumatized by sourpuss.
All right. We'll delve into that on another show about her sourpuss trauma. All right. So now we're back and we're going to talk about buying a house as a foreign national. So buying a house as a foreign national, it's important to know that Canadian foreign buyers, there was a law put in that extended until 2027 that gave non-residents limitations on how and where they could buy. So it's important to know that that is extended now to 2027. It doesn't mean that they can't buy. They are just limited as to where they could buy. Now, the great thing about this is you can buy in any place that has a populace of less than 10,000 people. And there's actually a website on CMHC that you can go on and you can plunk in an address and you can see if it applies to the non-resident buying or if it doesn't. So if you do want to invest in Canada, you just have to buy something that is not within a municipality of 10,000 people or more. So that is
okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So if you want to go somewhere and there's less than 10,000 people, so I don't know, okay, let's say Carstairs. Carstairs, I believe, and I could be wrong, don't quote me on this, might have a populace of less than 10,000 people. Other areas that I believe has a populace of less than 10,000 people could be Crow's Nest Pass. You could buy in Crow's Nest Pass as a non-resident and own a house there because they have a populace of less than 10,000 people. So that's really the big thing, but always plunk in the address on the website to make sure that you know where you can buy and where you can't if you're a non-resident of Canada. So
yeah, well, and the thing that is kind of nice about that is, you don't have a huge influx of investors from other countries kind of buying up in our major cities. So, because I know that did happen in Vancouver a while ago.
And Toronto, and that's why they put it in, is because we had a lot of people that were buying properties and holding on to them without renting them out or anything like that.
Yeah.
And they were doing that as an investment. And it is a great investment. Real estate is an amazing investment, I'll tell you.
And especially in a stable economy like ours compared to some countries.
Absolutely.
So people do want to invest their money here.
And you have to remember, too, is the other reason why people like to invest in Canada for when it comes to real estate is we have ridiculously stringent banking laws. We have some of the most stringent banking laws in the world. So that means that when it comes to buying here, it actually can be a very stable economy because we won't have those ebbs and flows of, massive global meltdowns, massive national meltdowns when it comes to our economy because we have such tight laws in our banking system. So that's why a lot of people like to invest in the stock market and Canadian banks and stuff like that because they have a slow, steady growth. So that's the big thing is you can buy depending on where you are. Now, if you're buying, this all applies to foreign nationals, non-residents, and then again, going outside of urban residential property like condos, townhouses, family houses, cannot buy in the big urban centers. Who is exempt though, because there are exemptions to this rule, are the temporary residents here with work permit. So if you have a work permit, depending on how long it is, you can get a mortgage and you can buy property. International students, this has been a little bit on the limited side, so double check with your mortgage broker just because of things that are going on right now. Refugee claims. So a lot of people that actually came in from Ukraine had a KOET permit as they came in on a refugee claim. They were able to buy houses. So keep that in mind if you're on a refugee claim. Check and see if your refugee claim allows you to purchase a home because it might. Development or large-scale rental buildings. obviously with a massive housing shortage, if you want to come in and buy or build a large scale rental building, the government's all for it, because the more housing we can get, the better off we are in our big, huge national housing crisis. And then, of course, properties that are in rural areas outside what are called the CAs. So that's that website where you go to and you throw in the address and it'll tell you. So basically, anything under 10,000 people, that can qualify as well. So, as a non resident, if you're trying to buy in Toronto, probably not going to happen. But if you want to go to or Calgary or Okotoks or anything like that, probably not going to happen. But if you want to go to maybe Carstairs or I'm trying to think of what are other small towns around here.
Didsbury, maybe that's probably under 10,000.
It might be under 10,000. Didsbury, Bowden might be under 10,000. Those kind of areas you can still buy a house in. So those are areas that you can buy as a non-resident. Now, selling as a non-resident, well, this is a whole nother conversation, because one thing a lot of people don't realize is that inside your purchase contracts, it says that the seller is actually claiming and attesting that they are a resident of Canada. So if you're selling as a non-resident, the first thing you have to do is you have to cross that out. So that's a big part of the purchase contract, because you don't want to claim something and you're not. So if you're selling your property as a non-resident, you have to cross that out. Then you're actually going to have to get
and sign
and initial. You're right. And you're going to have to go and you're going to have to get a certificate of compliance. It's required within 10 days of the closing of the sale. And this is to help the close go. They want to make sure about if there is tax withholdings, because so we call it, a lot of times in Canada, and especially in Calgary, we deal with cross-border transfers. So cross-border transfers are people that are owning in Canada, but they want to move into the United States, let's say generally for a job, which is why we deal with them, obviously huge in oil and gas.
Yeah.
And we always have to make sure that they sell the house before they leave the country and that possession has taken place. And the reason why is because if you don't do this, the government will do what is called a withholding tax. And they're going to withhold 25% of the gross sales price of the house, because they want to make sure that you've paid all your taxes in the country, you've completed all your tax requirements, if there's capital gains, if you've got income tax left over. They want to make sure all that stuff is done before they allow you to leave the country with that money. So when you are traveling and you're moving into a different country, you want to make sure that house sale is complete while you're still in the country and have resident status in the country. And if you never had resident status, they're going to withhold 25% until you do all your tax forms, file your tax forms, make sure you've paid on the tax gains of the property and all that kind of stuff. And then they're going to give you that 25% back of whatever is left over, if there is any. So keep that in mind, that if you're selling a house and you're a non-resident, you're not going to get all the money right away. The government is going to keep a portion of it. And this is actually, as someone who owns in multiple different countries, I will tell you, this is super normal in every country. So this is what would happen to me for if I sold my property in Costa Rica, if I sold my property in the United States. They will withhold a portion of it to ensure that I pay my taxes within that country that are applicable to the property.
Okay. Yeah, which makes a lot of sense.
Absolutely, because once you're gone, like if you're not part of the country, they can't do much. It's their only leverage. So it's super fair and super reasonable. But if you are in the country and giving up your resident status, sell that house before you do, and make sure that you get that possession taken care of before you leave the country. And I always tell people, do that, wait 10 days. So if possession is on the 1st, don't leave the country till the 10th. You got a nice clear window that says, yes, I didn't give up my residency to the country until the 10th.
Yeah.
And that matters.
That's smart. Very smart.
Yeah. So hidden tax costs, hidden costs and hidden taxes. Do you want to talk about this?
The capital gains tax. So there is a capital gains tax on non-residents properties when they sell. It's the difference between the purchase price and the sale price. So if you bought a house for $400,000 and you sold it for $500,000, you're not paying on that whole $500,000. It's just that $100,000 difference. And it's up to 50% of that. So you're not paying the whole 100,000. It's just 50% of that 100,000. So it would
at
be
your
50,
tax, at the tax rate.
Yes, so it'd be 50,000 on that tax rate.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And in Ontario and BC, if you're buying outside of Alberta, in Ontario and BC, they have a non-resident speculation tax. These are provincial taxes from 15 to 20% that you're also going to be subject to if you're a non-resident and you've got that house there. It applies to foreign buyers in very specific zones. So again, make sure your zone, know which taxes apply to your zone and which ones don't. There also is an underused housing tax. So the underused housing tax is an annual tax on vacant or underused homes by non-residents. So this is a tax that if you're not renting your house out full time and you're just coming here once in a while, you're going to be obligated to pay, and you have to pay it every year by April 30th. And if you're late or not filing, it's going to be $5,000 to $10,000 on missing and late returns. So make sure you pay that tax on time, which is every year by April 30th.
Mm-hmm. And that some of these taxes actually apply to municipalities as well. So like, and this is a little bit off topic, but people buying in investment properties like Canmore and things like that. Canmore just hiked up their tax for property taxes.
So they have a non-resident property tax,
mm-hmm.
and they have a resident property tax.
So you always want to look at those for, even if you're just buying in, you're not a foreign buyer.
Yeah.
And you're just buying in your own country.
Well, and exactly. And these do apply, but it's also important to know, like, before you're making these decisions as a non-resident or even as a resident of Canada, check in.
Oh,
that's
buzzing.
We're ignoring him or her. As check in with your tax accountant, check in with a tax lawyer, and verify which taxes apply to you and which ones don't, because there have been real life scenarios where an AUE tries to buy a condo in Vancouver, was denied because of the ban, and ended up buying land in Alberta outside of restricted zones. And that's possible. That can happen. There was an international student in Windsor who qualified under the student exemption and then didn't file tax and had to file taxes for 3 years and bought a $400,000 townhouse. Then we have non-residents that inherited a property in Nova Scotia, sold it, but failed to get the clearance certificate, and CRA withheld 25% of the final sale price. It took 8 months to get it refunded. Personally, I bought a house, even with GST, where GST is applicable, and we ended up paying it instead of deferring it. We ended up sitting here and we took possession at the beginning of December, and we're still now at the end of April, and we haven't received our $30,000 back from the government. So it takes time to do these filings. It takes time for the government to go through it. And when the government has to give you back large amounts of money, they're triple checking that it's proper and that they're going through all of the documents, they're going through all of the receipts, and they're making sure that there's nothing that's been claimed that shouldn't be claimed. Mm-hmm. So be patient, be thorough, talk to a tax accountant, talk to a tax lawyer, talk to a realtor, look at the website, and make sure you know what you can and cannot buy it.
Yeah, super important.
All right.
To know all those details.
But more fun, and most importantly, we have a prize. Grab the prize.
Ooh.
If you like and share our show on any one of the social medias, you'll be entered to win these beautiful, beautiful diamond cut coupe glasses.
How easy are they to take out?
Not easy at all.
Okay, I'll leave them in.
And this is the last show of April. So next month, which is on the next Wednesday, it's in May, we're going to be giving away these. We're doing the Lazy Man Flip, and we're talking about flipping houses with financial success. So make sure you like and share our show. Go on to Facebook, like, share, tag your friends. Go on to LinkedIn, like, share, tag your friends. Do it on Instagram, any one of our social medias, YouTube, TikTok. We are on all of them, and we want to make sure they're getting lots of information out of this. So keep in mind, if you have questions, if you have an experience, post it below the show. Tell us about your experience as a non-resident. We'd love to hear from you. If you have subject matter that you want us to consider talking about on our show, we'll absolutely do that as well. Mm-hmm. And of course, my favorite part of the show, if you know anyone buying or selling a house in the next 6 to 12 months, feel free to give us a call. Go to our website. Make sure that you get everyone. Oh, I'm being told that I screwed up and there's one more show on April 30th. So this is the second to last show. Second is so close. Second to last show. So make sure, like and share our show. You got 2 more shows to do it, and we will absolutely love to hear your ideas for season 6 of the Tipsy Realtor, because we're on season 5.
There you go.
All right. Well, thank you so much. Have a great day, and we'll chat with you guys next week.
Bye.